payable. Their duties didn't change. But everybody else's duties changed. As I was first deputy, I was more of the budget financial first deputy part. When I had Carla become my first deputy, I chose to keep her specialty of settlement and property taxes as her main job so that I didn't have yet another huge job to train onto somebody else. So she's keeping that portion of it and adding some financial with it. And then Brittany came in as deductions, and then Jody moved to a combination of what would have been some deductions, some property tax. She'll be taking over all of my bookkeeper duties, and she will also be learning the budget. I mean, I will still be the main budget person just because that was my strength, and it takes, I mean, I've been here 8.5 years, so it's going to take a while for her to learn it, but she'll be picking that up. So that's why I had to update those job descriptions, because I was replacing Carla as a property tax deputy at another training level.
Any other business come before the council or committee? All right. Committee meeting is closed. Or do I have to ask for a motion to close the committee meeting?
Yeah.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
A motion and a second to close the job classifications committee. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Committee's closed. Committee meeting's closed. Thanks.
Actually, what they do. The one question that we have, and I'm sorry, but I stopped to see you to tell you about it, but you were the client, so I didn't bother to email you afterwards. Allen County has a resolution, their council, that they're going to apply these standards.
Morning, Dave.
Now, there are different standards in what these are.
Morning.
Do we actually need that resolution? We want to somehow formalize the process.
You need a resolution if you're going to require, if the council's going to require itself to comply with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I will send you a copy of Allen County's, just for hell of it. But
Okay.
you can write it up however you want to do it.
Okay, it's pretty simple stuff.
Okay.
Hi, Donna.
Morning.
You did.
Morning. You look good on TV, Donna.
Oh, yeah. Camera's facing you.
Right there.
So we're to the point where we are able to do.
We are going to live stream our meeting today. Jack will be, we're after,
Oh, good.
after we do the prayer and we do the, approve the minutes, I'm going to have Jack come in and explain how this is going to work. There's still, it's not totally completed yet because there apparently is some equipment that is back ordered and won't be here till June. So we've got a little bit of flickering, I guess, to deal with. But for the most part, it will be there, and we're going to be the test case today.
Notice that the camera does change.
Yeah, it's supposed to follow whoever's talking.
Okay, what about the,
And there's one up there too,
so the public also will, if they talk?
from the podium.
Oh, okay.
So now it should be even more, and we'll have to get a lot of the details from Jack, but it should, we'll have to be even more careful about insisting people go to the podium to speak, because speaking from the back of the room might not be the best.
Rick, since you do most of the talking, I'm going to be happy to move over to Donna's seat. Because when I move, right now the camera's,
You just do all the talking and it's not a problem.
Well, you know, we
Just
can make
switch to
you,
you.
we can make you do
No,
all
I
the
didn't.
talking.
Amy, say something.
And this probably only makes a difference for those of us that bring our computers. You see that one of the things that they've added, the pop-up electrical outlets along with the USB ports to charge. right there between you and, yeah, just push in on it.
Push
Just
down
pop
hard.
up.
And it has wireless charging on top.
Push really hard. Harder, in the middle.
Nice.
Nice.
All right,
It
maybe
takes-
both of you at the same time.
we go.
There. And the top of it has wireless charging
That's
for I know it works for iPhones.
I pulled
We're
my
not
cord.
supposed to have?
I pulled it out. It's gone.
We're not supposed to have.
We have one right here
Just,
too.
Wow.
that
have a
and, no,
microphone.
that and that one over here happens to be the closest they could get
I know, and
because
I
of the
did.
doors
I
and
pulled
stuff
under
on
there
the
just-
Private
side.
sector, but I'm pleased that
That's fancy, I tell you.
How is it all of a sudden that Randy's report got sent to us ahead of time? Report.
Because I asked for it because I don't like to retype everything and I wanted it in Word so I could just
Sounds like
copy
a
and
good
paste
idea to
it.
me.
Because I'm finding every possible way to shortcut anything I possibly can
Good idea.
to survive.
Probably. That, you know, for me,
Part of this is just the lens not doing well.
right now, the pollen is out and everything. Horrible sign. Never had that problem before, and all of a sudden I've developed.
What are you looking for? Did they die?
On and off.
They were on when I turned it on this morning.
You can do it, I don't know if you can do it manually or by the
You do it
screen.
on the screen, but so right there, that's the mute
You
right
can
in
do
there.
that, or sometimes you can go like that. The mute button. You can add it to the screen if you want to.
Is it truly live?
Yeah, you'll be able, well, you can,
So it shows the mutes on
go to
there.
YouTube.
It says silent on.
He's
So
going
you
to
can
explain
add
that
things to
to
that
us.
screen, like right here.
Right
I
after
will
the,
put on here.
I don't think I have mute
that it
on
is,
mine.
that it is being live streamed, I don't know what you want, how you want to call it, 'cause
Meeting
and it'll
yesterday,
be
I
stored.
pushed the mute and I now
If you want to go
won't
back
come
and look at it 2 weeks from now,
So-
you can.
up. So it's on silent now,
But
Bob?
I'm going to have,
So I
after
have
we
to
get
push that
done
again
with
and
the,
unsilent
Yeah,
it.
you have to actually flip
approving
it
the
over.
minutes,
It's like
I'm gonna
you see
have
that-
him
The
explain
red
what's
is
going
showing
on.
right there.
so
See in there where that red is showing? And that,
Yeah.
that has to be pushed over.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I had a mute. I don't know what happened to it.
Is it under just settings,
I'm in the settings.
sounds?
what behind the scenes?
Oh, Carla,
Notifications.
the year-to-date additionals, that spreadsheet didn't get here.
You haven't had it.
Okay, well, I was going to email you last night.
You haven't
I-
had it for months.
Oh, yeah, I had it last month.
No, you didn't.
Hey Siri, call
I haven't done
Vanguard.
it.
I think the city and the
Did I miss that? How did I miss that
You
last
missed that
month?
for 3 months.
Seriously?
There it is,
Sunshine.
right here.
Oh, that's just for the
All right,
phone
well,
call
then-
you're
Yeah.
on.
Oh,
It's
just
on
for the
there.
phone call you're on, okay.
On my list.
Jim and
You might have to still
I told you they'd be
Especially
asking.
since we're getting some new ones coming.
silent your phone.
Yeah.
Put your
Oh,
phone
no.
in silent mode or something.
No, it's Getz and Andy.
I've always had to
Oh,
just
it's
flip
Getz,
that button.
Yeah, Jim. he
That's
got
good to
out.
know. Thank you, Bob.
He was defeated by,
Always had an
in,
Android, so.
I was just curious, I see there's a lot of signs up that way.
yeah, it's Andy and,
Dave, you look real good on TV. Sorry, I took the TV away from
no, I
you.
don't know who's, I have no feel for anything up there or here for who's gonna win, so I don't know.
Oh,
We'll
no.
do this, the unknown councilman.
Oh, no, it goes to the side of the room where they're talking a lot. You got the gavel.
I was giving you time to sit down.
When you talk, the camera moves to this table.
And that's recorded.
And there you go.
Oh, Lord.
Nobody will make a motion in a second.
We might have to go into a delay, we mightn't we on this?
Yeah, we might have to have
Turn his
somebody
microphone
stand by
on?
with
Yes.
the bleeper.
Well, we need to live stream.
Turn his mic off.
3-second delay.
For real. For
All
real.
right. Call the April 12, 2022 meeting of the Auburn County, or the DeKalb County Council to order. And, you know,
Our
I'm
first live's gonna be
old,
great.
things come back to me. And we'll begin with an opening prayer by Councilwoman King.
Heavenly Father, thank you so much for another day of life. Thank you for the beautiful county that we get to live in and serve. We just pray, Father, that you would give us wisdom today as we make decisions regarding all of the things that affect so many of us, all of us really, that live here and love to live here. And so, Lord, we're just looking to you and thanking you and praising you. Thank you for the sunshine. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Donna. Next is the approval of the March 8th, 2022 minutes. And I have a motion to approve. Been moved by Councilwoman Prosser to accept the minutes as presented,
I'll second it.
and seconded by Councilman Kraft. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That motion is carried. Now, we're going to, a little addition to the minutes. As you've noticed, we have our monitors going now that are established in the room. And Jack, if you could come up and kind of give us a rundown on what's happening and what we're now doing as far as live streaming our meetings.
Yeah, so basically what we've done over the past 4 months is put this plan into action. As you can tell, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cameras installed. One for the podium, which is coming from over there. We've got one that focuses on the like Rick's area. And then we've got one camera here that looks over at this side, one camera there looks over that side. And the way the system works is as we're talking into the microphones, there's a video switcher in the cabinet, and it focuses on the person that's actually talking. One of the things that we're working on, and this is a test, this is certainly a test today, is to go through and adjust the sensitivity later on. When we're done streaming, we'll go back and look at the audio, or the video itself. And what the system currently has a problem with is when there's multiple people talking, there's like a second delay or so before it can actually go through and decide which camera to focus on. So we're going to be adjusting that over the next couple weeks. We've got a couple parts that are on back order that'll actually improve everything later on. For people doing presentations, we've got a box there next to that camera that they'll plug their laptop into and use HDMI, and then their presentations can also be streamed live These, the live streaming will be available through the county website on the county council webpage. There's a link, it says view video. It's also recorded on an SD card, so we can archive them. I'm not quite sure yet what the retention is through YouTube, and that they are hosting it for us. So there's quite a few things in the work still that we have to get figured out, but we'll be fine. So,
We never talk over each other, so that won't be an issue.
Is there plans to also live stream the commissioners' meetings?
yeah, it's all set. It would be just creating a separate link.
All right, so if they want to watch the council, they would go to the web page, go to the county council section of the web page. If they want to see the commissioners, they would go to the commissioners section
Yes,
of the web page.
yes. So we'll be working on that over the next couple of weeks and get that in place too.
And the parts that you were waiting on were back ordered how long?
It'll be mid-June.
Okay.
So, and those parts were originally ordered back in October. So that's just the supply chain at this point.
All right.
So,
Very good. Well, this is going to improve our transparency with the citizens and hopefully address those that have always wanted to have us to have evening meetings along with commissioners. The commissioners have tried it several times and rarely got very good attendance, but this will make it available to everyone.
right. So anyway, thank you.
All right. Thanks, Jack.
Good luck.
All right, moving on from there, we'll move to additional appropriations. The first additional appropriations comes to us from the Human Resources. Give me just a second here. The additional appropriation is to 32,840 consultant fees in the amount of $16,000. Amounts represent anticipated expenditures through what month and year? September of 2022. How will the appropriations be used? The Job Classification Subcommittee and Council has requested a wage salary review by consultants Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy to update the information originally given to the county in 2019. WIS will conduct an updated market analysis and provide external midpoint wages, prepare pay plans, and a cost analysis to move employees' wages to market rates. Specific cost of items and how costs were determined, and via quote, WIS estimated that the total fees will be in the range of $13,460 to $15,540, plus any travel which they don't think will be incurred. Use of a principal will be $125 per hour, senior consultant $95 per hour, and consultant $45 per hour. Mileage will be billed at 46 cents per mile, per diem $24 a day, lodging per receipts, and postage printing per receipts. Explain if these will be recurring expenses. No, however, another such review might need to be completed in a few years. Were they're included in an annual budget request? If not, why not? No, this was a request to HR by council after the 22 budgets were approved. Will other related additional appropriation requests be necessary? If so, please explain. Unknown if any further reviews by WIS for the Job Classification Subcommittee will eat away at my budgeted amount. Was this discussed with the council liaison? Yes, that was Councilwoman Prosser, and this was submitted by Dottie Miller, HR Director. And I have a motion to approve this additional request in the amount of $16,000.
So moved.
Been moved by Councilman Yard. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilwoman King. Discussion.
What's going for the wages? And I don't remember what it was last night. Is this also going for the people that's in position and the years of experience?
What they are doing is evaluating our wage structure versus the current market. When we did the original study, and they classified everybody's job, they also attached to that what the wage range should be. We were not able to go to that level at that particular time, so we did what we could, and then with the '22 budget, Susan did the best she could just by mathematically increasing the wages where people were at by what the inflation had been. May or may not have been appropriate as far as getting them to the right levels. And so this is just to make sure that our pay ranges are meeting the market rate right now.
So we're going basically the base rate.
Base rate, yeah. Now, whether or not they include things like longevity and things like that, I don't think so. This is just going for the actual wages of our, and it's our current employees and who we might hire in the future. It's what we need to attract them, so.
I think the longevity piece ends up being on your guys' plate onto whether you add that in for the departments or not.
Well, the reason I bring it up is I'm on the solid waste board. The reason our director decided that part-time help should get 7 years. That went over? Two of them resigned right away.
Well, and I think we, as far as part-time wages are concerned, I think we made that adjustment with this budget in that a part-timer doing the exact same job as a full-timer shouldn't be limited in.
But I'm only using that as an example to prove the point that we gotta be careful, because if someone's here for 10 years compared to someone here for 2 years, there should be a little bit of difference.
Should be, as long as they're still performing as they should.
And that's up to you getting your.
Because they should all be in ranges and get evaluations. I think the only limitations you've got there might be within the sheriff's department with patrolmen, road deputies.
Yeah, that's a difference.
Which is true, but I think that most of the departments right now, they're still trying to get to a range point and they're not up to where they should be, so it appears as if we don't have a range because we go high.
And
She's good. She's good at mine. She gets a percent of me.
and the big thing with this is, and they shouldn't have to travel up here to do this work. So even though those rates are in here, I mean, they should be able to do that from their office. I mean, because they're a lot of this stuff is going to be available online and making phone calls and whatnot. But the primary purpose here is that we have the right ranges when we sit down to do budgets in August and September. Because we don't want this to come in after we do the budget for '23 and us still be behind. We need the information to do that budget.
More than a week before.
Yes, it would be. Well, all the department heads will need that information as they do their budgets.
Well, I don't know if we're going to have it in time for them.
I hope we do. And that is, I've been pushing that right along, so we need to get it done. Because you know how difficult it is to do budgets.
I know.
And
we
we got to have the best information that we possibly can have.
I will have to advertise high so you guys have availability to move. Because I don't think there's any way we're going to have it. Because they're going to be submitting budgets to us.
But hopefully we'll have the information by August where we can make changes.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. That's what the point the department head may have it, but we need the information when the council does the budget. All right. Any other discussion? Comment from the public? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving this additional signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same. That motion is carried. Next comes an additional from Community Corrections. We're still in additional there. And this additional is in the amount of $7,600. And coming from the County General, 1001.11440, Executive Director, $7,600. Amounts represent anticipated expenditures through what month and year? Through December of 2022. How will the appropriations be used? To fund the new executive director's salary, the majority of which is state mandated for judicial employees. Specific cost of items and how costs were determined, judicial wage and commissioner's approval. Will these be recurring expenses? The answer is yes. Were these included in the annual budget request? If not, why not? Yes and no. The executive director's wage was included. However, a new executive director makes more, therefore additional monies are needed. Will other related additional appropriation requests be necessary? If so, explain. The answer to that is no. Was this discussed with the council liaison? And the answer is yes. The liaison's name is Eldana King, and was submitted on March 18th of 2022. I have a motion to approve this additional.
With one correction, Amy's.
She did email me.
Did she? Okay.
Yep, we're good.
Well, we'll make that correction. And yes, I should have caught that.
But, okay, let's go back. I submitted the additional,
Correct.
so Donna was my liaison.
Okay.
That's
Oh, is that why you did it?
Okay.
That's why it went in that order. I presented it, I submitted it because it's totally different than anything that Community Corrections normally does. They don't normally have funds coming from County General. I did it on my end
Okay.
for.
That explains that.
Right, and she did email me all that preliminary on the date she said.
And we did discuss that at the last meeting. So.
We did. Now, I do have a question. Does the 7,600 include, does the insurances don't change unless it goes from a single person to a family, right? So, and so the Social Security will and everything that's associated with it, how is that covered?
That they have a line item that is just benefits paid back to the county. So like quarterly or so we do, the first part is quarterly and then it's monthly. They do checks back to the county, but that's all covered in there.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
Have we hired a new executive director yet?
Yes, we have.
Yes, and you'll be
She
meeting her
happens to
like
be
in
in the audience.
seconds.
Okay.
Don't say anything insulting yet.
I thought we had, but I,
Yes.
Did I have a motion? Okay, I still need a motion to approve this.
I'll make that motion.
Been moved by Councilwoman King. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Van Wy. Further discussion by the council? Comment from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That motion is carried.
Okay, wait. Do you want to talk with transfer or additional? Okay. He wants to talk to you and introduce the new director and stuff, so you either can do it now or you can wait until you get to his transfer.
What's your pleasure? I guess you're on, Michael.
listen, obviously not. I'll give you something to look at. First, obviously, we're day 2, so I wanted to make sure I brought her. Not everybody gets to come in and sneak in and find out we're talking about their pay. Our intention is to have get settled on a meet and greet, give everybody the option to sit down with Michelle, talk to her about the progressions that she and plans that she has. We just haven't set a firm date with the judiciary, but I'm working on that. What you have in front of you is the first definitive action that was proposed during the interim process. Myself, Ms. Talley, in conversations with Ms. Fauna, looking for a clear direction to shore up the employment status of RWF facilitators. It was brought in front of the Community Corrections Advisory Board on Friday, looking at them and saying, it's something that both the sheriff understands and we now understand as Community Corrections Department, that finding people that are dedicated to that job title, which is much in corrections, difficult to find, difficult to hold on to, and we were competing with the wrong level of employment. We needed to be closer to the level at which you would hire corrections staff at the jails, the prisons, and things of that nature. And we also had to meet the agreements that we had originally with the sheriff, which was not to compete directly with them. And that's what we've done here. The wage levels that are proposed were already allowed by the council. You guys actually gave them that ability, but because of the grant timing, we weren't able to secure those kind of funds. I know you guys are discussing having all of those numbers ready this year by a certain time. I think that was what we walked in on. If you could go ahead and do that by May 5th, right?
I know.
Just cut a couple months off of that and make it even easier on all of us, which I know isn't possible, but the closer and closer. I think even the state moved the time limit up on us again this year, making it even more difficult. What you're currently looking at, and I have to give 90% of the credit of that, this proposal to Ms. Talley, because what we were looking at was trying to make sure that we made that hourly salary rate so that we could change the amount and ability of those applying for that position. To do that, what we had were unfilled position. The intent was to reduce the actual longevity of 2 of those positions and say, though we will continue to ask for those facilitators in the future through grant funding, this year we're going to take all the funds we had from those and unfilled positions previously in the budget, just say that we're not going to hire those 2 positions for the rest of the years, all those funds to increase the pay for current and for those proposed, saying that the hourly rate for those would go from a range of $16.84 up to, $18.79, would now be increased from to $18.42 all the way up to $21. Immediately changing our posting and Indeed, changing those postings with the county and not costing the county a dime. All of that is grant funded. All of that is moved around inside the grant. And if we weren't filling the positions anyway, now we have a better chance to fill some. We did have, I think in the first week, we had an extra 5 or 6 applications. Very positive. The 2 that we're hoping to bring on staff. So that's the intention. And I think right now we're seeing some positive movement from that. But as you can also see at the very bottom, from the proposed section, you will see all the way to the bottom right, $44,360.70, which would be a surplus to those wages and that line item inside our grant. Us being able to look back at the state and saying, you gave us all this grant money, not only are we doing what we can with it, we are doing what we can to save you hopefully somewhere in the range of $44,000. The current processes with the grant have been previously, have been to have a final standing, an audit, and then those funds would be returned to the state. They are now looking at allowing those final funds to just remain at the county and then be part of the next grant request. It's my belief that the better you do with that money, the more likely that they will look and say, oh, well, as you move forward, as you start developing programs and doing what you can with these grant funds, the better you do with that money, the more range they will give to us. Now, the explanation to this Community Corrections Advisory Board is next year, we're not going to ask that those 2 positions be deleted. We're still going to ask for them. We just need to do what we can with the money we have right now to get as many qualified people in there to help as we can. Any questions, comments, anything I can help answer for you?
You have the 2 people out. If you have the place full, will you be able to still run it?
Right now, as long as you have 3, and speaking with Ms. Foster, both of us looked, and there is yes, you should still have the ability to keep 3 on all the way across the board.
Your benefits come out of your grant too?
No.
Your health insurance, that comes out?
Do they? I'm not
The
as...
commissioners give 65.
Not all of it, yeah.
Something weird. The commissioners pay 65,000, a little bit more of it, and then this grant pays everything else back to the county.
Right.
You can run efficiently with it.
We're running efficiently now without them, but more help is necessary.
Less stress. Really is what
Yeah,
counts.
yeah. There were extra, I think, having this, the current, having all of those positions is kind of not only having all the shifts filled, but having an extra 1 or 2 to move things around. We don't have that in the current employment environment. We just don't have that ability. We have to make the necessary positions as attractive as possible. I went to the Community Corrections Advisory Board telling them that I'm not attempting to compete with the jail, but I shouldn't have to compete with Wendy's. Because we are asking a significant amount from the people who are facilitators. Clean records, ethical and moral obligation, what could be considered a difficult work environment at times. It's really not right now. They do a great job. We have people who are truly dedicated to the mission and vision of community corrections, where they've looked at me and said, the people who are currently there, is pay the biggest reason I'm here? No. But for me to make it attractive and also train people well and have a really good culture out there to create the best environment for that rehabilitative process, I just think that this was necessary.
Michael, have you guys talked to the state, or do you need to, just to make sure it's okay to move these
They did.
salary things around? And
We have, and they,
they're good.
Yep. Yeah, never would make a move like that without asking them for permission.
I'm sure they understand the employment.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I believe Ms. Fauna and I discussed her intent. She's completing the new grant request and discussing the employment environment, how these salaries match up with not only jail staff and correction staff throughout the state to make sure that we're competitive.
Just to throw out there a couple things that he said, that unspent grant monies that do not go back to the state anymore. If you guys remember, every year we have to change their fund numbers. So that money stays in the current fund number that it's in. Then we start with a new, so we'll start with a different fund number that has monies remaining from the 2 years prior, and then it goes every other. So until they get everything balanced out and get a true number, it's not that that money goes right into the next year. It's every other thing that stays within the fund number because they have to change every year.
Do you use those funds first to deplete them?
It's ultimately a state determination. What they do is they take a look at our new grant request. The idea being, let's say we make and I'm going to throw out some ridiculous numbers here. We save them $50 and we come up with a newer grant request for $250. They say, okay, we're going to give you $200 and you get to use the $50 that you didn't spend from last year. Just move that over. My hope is that the continuation of being good stewards of their money will continue and allow us to keep saying if we're going to be great stewards of your money, give us the ability to use that again next year towards improvement and or pay increases or what's necessary in the grant.
Susan, quick question. And Michael, I think you kind of alluded to it, but the grant money, it's always been use it or lose it, basically. If you don't, you're penalized. And this, it goes back that we get to keep at the end of the year. Do we know if we're going to be reduced the following year then, or?
It's a cycle. So like this year, whatever we have left at whatever we had left at December of 2021, that will be deducted from what is requested for 2023. 2022's was based on what we had left from 2020 because they have to have time to balance and make sure everything, the actual ending balance is correct.
So basically, for being good stewards, we're penalized then?
Not
Not
entirely.
necessarily. It's normally we just send it back to the state and then the whole cycle starts over. This time, instead of sending money back and forth, it's staying, and then they request what they want, and whatever they are approved, their money, that the state's money that would have been sent back to them is technically already here at the county. So that's just going to come off what the full amount of that grant is approved for that next 2 years later.
Still getting your full
So
amount.
we're still getting the full amount. It's just that we're not sending money back and forth to the state
Okay,
many times.
I want to make sure.
And I
we're
hope I
still-
didn't confuse that for you. I really feel like when it comes to the state, the IDOC and everything else is about communication. Really looking at them and saying, this is the reason we did that. It's not that we didn't need the funds, not that we didn't use them. Obviously, there are things that are estimated that we can look at them, but about communication, look at them and saying, this is why we did that. I think, and speaking of Mr. Bosno, that communication on the new grant, looking at them and saying, because of the timing of when the council determines that, when we get our grants, we weren't able to pay that. That made it difficult for us to truly find that dedicated staff. We made this change to guarantee that we could, but we're hoping we could actually have a full dedicated staff at that level next year. Please allow us to remain and keep those at that level. For them, we have a regular contact, and I feel like every time that we talk to them and really truly explain to them why we needed those funds, what the purpose was, I think we have a better chance. It's always been my thought process that the better steward you are of those monies, the better chance that you have of getting more of them grant process wise. But I do understand the fact that in a standard grant, you're looking in and say, if you don't use it, you lose it. We're continuously going back and forth. Our grant process with Indiana Department of Corrections is a relationship, not so much just a grant process.
How soon do you expect to put your wages into effect, right, immediately?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
So you brought in a new lady, cost us $7,600.
Yep.
Up the raises. Boy, she's very effective.
She is.
Okay, so the other thing I wanted to add to this to put in the perspective for them, they're going to be submitting their grant in May. Had we had the information that you guys approved for the 2022 budget ahead of time, and they were able to if they were able to use the salary ordinance high numbers that you guys approved per category for this year, for adult community corrections, they would have needed just over $241,000 more in their budget, and for change, they would have needed just over $33,000 more in their budget. So that's how far backwards things get because of the timing of when they have to submit grants versus the timing that we get information versus the timing that you all approve what you decide to do for wages for the upcoming year. So obviously we're not going to have what we want, but Michael is right. I mean, we really need the information so they have the information to be able to submit in May. Otherwise, they will continue to be backwards, or you all are going to have to look at how you're going to fund the difference that they weren't able to ask for in the grant if you allow them to go up to what the rest of the county can be paid. Does that make sense?
This is playing catch up to something you already passed. You already gave them the ability to be paid at this level last year.
But it's not even, but this isn't even all the way up to the
Right.
highest rate of those categories.
All right, with that being said, I'm going to make an assumption that when you do the grant for 23, you're going to start with the numbers that we approved that you weren't able to go to yet. You were going to start with those numbers. And then some, normally we give the department heads some guidance as far as a percentage to go up, to take their wages up to. Now, we may not, sometimes we don't get to that point, sometimes we go well over that point. But the county departments can make adjustments after we approve the budget. They can't, because they've had to submit, the process is they do the budget, submit it to the community corrections group, and then turn it into the state, and then bring it to us. So, we're at the end of the line here. So we need to give them some direction. Number one, definitely start with what we approved for this year, even though you weren't able to go to that level.
I can't make that a guarantee. I definitely will look at it. One, we have some agreements with the sheriff not to compete. The other thing is to make sure that we have a proper argument with the state if we're well above and beyond those
Well,
that are either surrounding
we're in the
or
same
otherwise.
boat though, Michael, because
Sure.
right now you don't know what the sheriff's going to get, so you don't know if you're going to compete with him or not.
Sure.
So
yeah,
again,
we
that's
can
another
definitely
issue.
take a look at that and make sure we come as close as possible. That way, we're not playing a greater game of catch up than is already necessary. So, but yes, I understand that, and I know you're in an impossible position to attempt to just make it for the grant, and then them continuously changing those dates a little bit forward makes it impossible for you to see the future. As long as you stay flexible, that's all I'm asking.
Well, I don't know that anybody here is prepared to say go to 3%, 4%, or 8% for 23's budget, but they. I know that, and we had to.
Does the state give him any guidelines? Do they tell
I don't
you
know. What does the state give you a guideline?
Some.
as far as what, they always say, well, 2.4% growth or something like that. But they probably not May telling you what to apply for grants.
Some, they do limit some percentage increases for this, that, or the other, but.
But can you put in that the county has approved, like, what we got here? $22 an hour instead of 21? Would they look at that too, or is there no side notes?
It's not really a negotiation. It's
Okay.
much more of this is what we need, and then you make the justification. Which is why I spoke to the fact that looking at and saying the justification is important, how we're competing in the market, local, in that job category. That's what's more important to them, I think, because they're looking at an entire state, not what we're doing locally. But
Here you see it, McDonald's at $20 an hour, and everything, and you're dealing with the same kind of people. I mean, would you rather just stay at McDonald's or work?
sure.
So, you got to understand that other places are moving up.
Sure. I can't imagine anybody not wanting to work for me. So
I like a
That's
guy with
right,
confidence.
Michael.
it's just
Yeah,
hard.
pretty
It's hard
confident.
to. It's hard to put myself in that position in a short while.
Director.
And she's just thinking, what did I get into?
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't even start with a joke. I had to get it in there somehow.
Hey, well, does he let you speak at all?
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna make him get her up and introduce her officially before he gets away from that podium.
Going to discuss it when we got.
We don't meet again until May, 9, 10?
The only thing that I can even think for you all to suggest is, like you said, what you currently approve per category in the 2022 budget, and I can do my best to, I've been working with Jeff Peters, I can do my best to see if I can't get some kind of a percentage guideline from him. Soon, I mean, it'd be before your next meeting, but
I would hate to cap them at what we approved this year. We know we're gonna.
Well, I don't want to cap them there. I want them to start there with their request.
We know we're
So,
gonna-
you know, you start there and then add 3, 4, 5, 6, or as Bill says, you know, inflation's at 8% right now. I don't want to also say that now and then a month from now, tell the department heads that, well, we're going to hit you at 3%.
So Michael, let me ask you this. If you ask for a higher number, say you ask for 8% more than our 2022, and we only approve 6 or 5 or whatever in our budget times, that just leaves you with a surplus again this next year that you would have to, but your people start getting paid that 8% in July, don't they?
no, this is
This
this
is for next
budget
year.
is for the January budget.
Yeah, so what, I mean, he'd be better off to guess high.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The only piece I don't know about it, and Michael and Michelle may know, I don't know on DOC part how that works with their reporting. Like, you know, when we have something, an appropriation left in ours, it reverts back to our fund. If they begin having a lot of surplus left in that grant fund, I don't know that the state is going to like that. And I don't know if they're able to say, hey, we're asking for this because we don't know what our council is going to approve. I'm not sure on that piece of it.
State just needs to change their fiscal year so we can get this all straight.
Well, they changed that one. They just didn't change when they have to have their grant submission.
Oh, okay.
The juvenile is what they need to change to January to December, because that's still a nightmare. Yes, for the grant, to submit the grant.
But if yours is due May 5th, we won't meet, we'll meet after that.
See after that. Again, I think the best thing to do is, number one, start at the level that we approved for this year. And then you are going to have communication with other community corrections departments throughout the state. You can look and see kind of where they're going with their wages and kind of base it on that. But again, start with what we approved for this year and then go from that point. So. All right, now, we're kind of sideways here. First of all, let's have an introduction of our new community corrections head.
Our new director.
Michelle, it's nice to meet you, and glad to have you on board. Good. Well, we're certainly glad to have you here.
Thanks for coming. Way.
Meet you.
Just keep the auditor and your finance person there close to you as possible.
Yes, we got you.
All right. We are going to jump back in that, we did approve the additional, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we are moving on then to the surveyor's request. There are two here. I think we can take these together, correct? All right. Is from the surveyor's office. This would be an additional to account 1138.44610, purchase of vehicles. Requested amount is $8,770. And then an additional to 1138.44430, equipment, in the amount of $6,500. These anticipated expenditures are through December of 2022. How will the appropriations be used? And they'll be used to purchase a new pickup truck, lights, decals, and truck equipment. Specific cost and of items and how costs were determined. See attached quotes for the truck and truck equipment. Decal was a verbal quote from Precision Graphics in Waterloo. The surveyor's decals with installation of $150. Will these be reoccurring expenses? This will not be a recurring expense. Were these included in the annual budget request? No, it was an unforeseen increase in expense due to the current economy. Will there be any other additional appropriation requests be necessary? The answer is not to my knowledge. Was this discussed with your department liaison? The answer is yes. Liaison's name is Councilman Van Wy. This was submitted by the surveyor, Mike Klein. I have a motion to approve these two additionals. And moved by Councilman Van Wy. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Yard. Discussion. Comment from the public. Mike, I know you're back there behind the podium. Do you have anything you want to say about this? All right.
Bill, we talked about this last time, I think.
Yeah.
We also, didn't we talk about possibly keeping the old truck, but we're trading it in, right?
No, we're keeping the old truck.
Okay, we are keeping the old truck. This, when it says
That's right,
trade,
we're keeping the old truck, yeah.
when it says
because-
trade, what's that mean?
But that's what he agreed to trade, and when we found out wasn't gonna get that much from his truck, we decided to keep the old truck, so he had something
We
to
have a
drive.
double
So he can have something to drive, because he does not turn in his
mileage.
mileage.
Yep.
So if he's got a second truck, and there's places he has refused to drive his truck, I don't know why, but I mean.
No, I thought that was the case. It just says trade in here, and I thought.
Yeah, well, that was the original thing that he brought.
But we're not trading, we're keeping.
We're not trading, that's the original thing he brought last time. So we're gonna keep-
The additional appropriation covers the cost
Yeah.
of what we
Yeah,
would
the
like
cost,
with the
cost,
trade.
and then, the 6,500 is basically to get them the truck, so they can carry their equipment on it without just thrown in the back of beds.
Okay. Any other discussion? Comment from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor of this additional appropriation signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That motion is carried. And next, we have one for the Health Maintenance Fund. Thank you, Mike. This comes from the Health Department. It's for the Local Health Maintenance Fund, 1168. It will be to 1168.44430, equipment in the amount of $1,347.50. And the expenditures represents expenditures through April the 30th of 2022. And how will the appropriations be used? This is to replace a laptop that was damaged during recent construction in the Health Department. The contractor's insurance company sent a check, auditor deposited deposited into this account, which is where the original purchase came from. Our department purchased the new computer and docking station. Really needs to type these out instead of writing this by hand. The amounts, our laptop is $1127, docking station was $220.50. The total was $1,347.50. Explain if these will be recurring expenses. The answer is no. Were these included in the annual budget request? No, because the damage was the result of an accident. Will there be other additional appropriation requests be necessary? The answer to that is no. This was discussed with the department's liaison, that was Councilman Van Wy, and it was submitted by the department director, Cheryl Lynch. I have a motion to approve this additional. Been moved by Councilman Van Wy. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Kraft. Council discussion? Comment from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That motion is carried. Next is one from the Change Academy. And there are a number of these. And they total $126,886. And rather than read all of these individual, because this is their entire line item budget, the part-time educational coordinator on through, let's get down here to why we're doing this. How will the appropriations be used? This is the juvenile budget for fiscal year 23. Just need to have the funds appropriated. This is the Change Academy, and so this grant is a July through June rather than January through December. So this is their full budget. Specific cost of items and how the costs were determined. It's the fiscal year 23 juvenile budget. Explain if these will be reoccurring expenses. Yes, these are reoccurring expenses through the year. Were these included in the annual budget request? And the answer to that is yes, because this is the annual budget. And will there be other related additional appropriation requests? And the answer to that is no. And this was discussed with their department liaison, which is Amy Dembski, and it was submitted. And is that Michael's signature there? Is it Justin? Justin, you know, I working in healthcare, I read a lot of doctors' signatures, but
This one isn't Justin.
this is not Justin? Okay.
No, this
He's not
gentleman.
Justin.
He's not.
That's a difficult
Yes.
signature to read, let me tell you.
Yes.
But it is being submitted by their Community Corrections Department. So, again, the total of this budget is $126,886.
Then we get this grant money we're just appropriating.
Yes.
I make a
Not,
motion.
not this one. This is the Change Academy school funding. This is where we get the money from the schools.
Schools pay this.
But we're just appropriating money that's coming in for this.
Correct. Because the budget is July 1 through June rather than January through December. And I have a motion to approve this.
I'll second.
Been moved by Councilwoman Dembski. It's been seconded by Councilman Kraft. Any council discussion?
Correct. They won't add up because payments are paid on a school calendar, not my calendar.
One more case
Yes.
of not matching.
It's a nightmare.
I just wondered, because the total grant here is higher than the total that's in there.
Correct. Shannon and I went through this multiple times, multiple ways to verify, and there is, when all the school money comes in, there will actually be more. There'll
And
still be
these
some
budgeted
left.
amounts don't take effect until July, correct?
Susan, question, fifth item down says benefits paid back to county general, 32,314. Could you explain that, please?
That's the account that they generally have in most all of their funds, because the commissioners only pay around 65,000 of all their health insurance. And so then
This is the difference on that then?
that and PERF and Social Security, they pay back to the county.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That motion is carried. Next additional is from the IPEP safety grants. And this is coming to us from the county coroner's office. And it will be to, thank you. It will be to account 44430 equipment in the amount of $26,400. Amounts represent anticipated expenditures through what month and year. We were awarded the grant to install a power mount loading system for our striker cot into the back of the transport vehicle. How will the appropriations be used? We were awarded a grant to install a power mount loading system for our striker cot into the back of the transport vehicle. Specific costs, how they were determined, $26,400 is the cost was obtained from the striker representative. Will these be reoccurring expenses? This will be a one-time purchase. Were they included in the annual budget request? If not, why not? No, this was a grant that was filled out last year, and we were awarded the grant in December of 2021. Any other additional expenses? Answer is not. Was this discussed with the department's liaison? It was not. The liaison is Representative or Councilwoman King, submitted by Mike Gerber, County Coroner. Any questions? Shows you how expensive ambulance equipment is.
This year, the coroner was the only one that was awarded in a safety grant
He was the only one this year?
for DeKalb,
Oh, at this amount,
right?
yep, that limited it.
So that's why you only see his and that. I didn't put everybody's together.
Okay. And this is one that will save the backs of firemen and EMS people, coroner's staff, loading heavy individuals into the back of a transport vehicle. And Stryker is one that's fairly common. The Stryker system is fairly common with EMS and ambulances. So, do I have a motion to approve this?
I'll make that motion.
Been moved by Councilwoman King. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Van Wy. Discussion? Comment from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That motion is carried. Next additional request comes to us from, and this is the last one, this is the state grant for Community Corrections Juvenile. And again, this is a July through June budget year. And the total amount on this is $88,686, and this is grant funding from the state. And it is for the education coordinator, program coordinator. The education coordinator is $25,000, the program coordinator is $30,000, PERF of $10,186, utilities of $3,000,
equipment rental of $2,500, and building lease of $18,000, for a total of $88,686. All right. Those are the budgeted amounts. Amounts represent anticipated expenditures through what month and year through June of 2023. How will the appropriations be used? This is the juvenile budget for fiscal year 23. Just need to have the funds appropriated. Specific cost of the items and how costs were determined. And this is the fiscal 23 juvenile budget. Explain if these will be reoccurring expenses. Yes, these are reoccurring expenses through the year. Again, that year is July 1 through June 30th. Were these included in the annual budget request? And yes, because this is the annual budget request. Will there be other related additional appropriation requests be necessary? The answer to that is no. This was emailed to Councilwoman Dembski, the liaison, and has been submitted by the department head. I have a motion to approve this budget. Been moved by Councilwoman Dembski. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Van Wy. Discussion?
I can tell you that Shannon and I have both questioned, and she's going to talk to Michael and the new director for as long as I've been here. This state grant for juvenile has always been requested at $88,686, the same amount every year, and neither her or I know why it's always the same, or if they can't ask for more. So she's going to ask. They're going to try and figure that part out because we don't know.
All right. I have a motion, I have a second. Was there any comment from the public? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving this additional signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That motion is carried. All right, that should end additionals. And we move on to transfers. All right.
Do you want to slip Randy in since you're at the stepping part?
Randy, you got time, or would you like to get moving? Talk me into it. Talk me into it, Randy. All right, we're going to keep going with the transfers. Let's get these things out of the way. First transfer comes to us for County General from the Public Defender's Office. All right. Reference transfer of funds. Please transfer $10,800 from Conflict Counsel 1001.11498 to other service fees account 1001.32780. We are asking to transfer this money because we set this account up to pay appeal attorneys, which have previously been paid by the court. We mistakenly set it up as a payroll account, and it should be in a service account so that we can turn the invoices into the auditor's office for payment. Sincerely, Mark Olivero, Chief Public Defender. And I have a motion to approve this transfer.
I'll make that motion.
Been moved by Councilwoman King. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Yard. And I think the best explanation is probably going to come from the auditor. What's going on here?
They're not employees, so I cannot pay them out of a payroll account through accounts payable. They need to be through payroll. They need to be through accounts payable, which is more of like a contractual service. So they needed to be moved into.
So this is moving the entire amount in that budget line. Okay. Questions or comments by the council? Comment from the public? Hearing none. All those in favor of this transfer signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That motion's carried. The next transfer comes to us from the sheriff, and this is for the This is for the handgun application fund, 1156. All right. Requesting to transfer monies, transfer $2,500 from handgun permits, travel and training, account 1156.34295 to handgun permits, supplies, account 1156.22130. We are requesting to transfer to pay for another ammo shipment that was ordered in 2021 that has arrived and we have been invoiced for. I appreciate your assistance in this manner. Sincerely, Dave Chirp, Sheriff. I have a motion to approve this transfer.
So moved.
Been moved by Councilman Yard. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Kraft. Discussion? Hearing none. Comment from the public? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same. That motion's carried. Next comes to us for the Health Fund, 1159. A transfer in Health Fund 1159, the DeKalb County Health Department is requesting a transfer in Health Fund 1159. This transfer will cover 2022 auto, inland marine, and general liability insurance. Please transfer the funds as follows: from insurance account 1159.1222200 in the amount of $5,027.47 to liability insurance account 1159.33410 in the amount of $5,027.47. Thank you for your consideration. Cheryl Lynch, Director of County Health Department. And I have an motion to approve this transfer. Been moved by Councilman Van Wy. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Councilman Kraft. Comments from the council? Comment from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That motion's carried. Next comes to us a request for a transfer from Central Communications, and this would be in the public safety account 1170. Central Communications is requesting the following transfers from the following funds. We request to transfer $7,000 from 1170.33620 equipment repairs to account 1170.4443 equipment. This transfer is to cover the cost of a new SLR 8000 radio repeater for our sheriff and fire VHF backup system. The previous repeater has become non-functional and is not repairable. The unit is being replaced, was approximately 30 years old. Thank you for your consideration. Brian Humbarger, Director of Central Communications. I have a motion to approve this transfer. Motion by Councilwoman Dembski. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Van Wy. Brian is in the back of the room. Do you have anything you want to say about this, Brian? You and I did talk about this, and pardon?
It's a minor
Yeah, minor requirement, yeah. Although I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That motion is carried. All right. Next comes to us a request from the Probation Department for the Probation Donation Fund, 4114.
The next two are going from manuals to testing services for a total of $9,500. They just wrote letters on 2 different days. So there's 2 letters for that.
And with that being said, there are 2 lines here, one for 2,000, one for 7,500. We can take these both together, I hope. All right. Dear council members, the DeKalb County Probation Department would like to request the following transfers. Transfer $2,000 from 4114.22740 manuals to 4114.3390 testing services. This transfer will allow the probation department to use the drug-free grant award as an incentive to pay for clean drug screens after client earns free screen for testing negative 4 times in a row. And the second one is please consider the following transfer from DeKalb County Probation Department Donation Fund budget to assist in the payment of drug tests for the 3 problem-solving courts. This funding was from DeKalb County Drug Free. Transfer $7,500 from manuals 4114.22740 to testing services 4114.33900. Total requested amount to be transferred is $7,500. Can I have a motion to approve these 2 transfers? All right. Been moved by Councilman Van Wy. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman King. Discussion? Comment from the public? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That motion is carried. All right. Last one is state grant for community corrections, and this is these total out, let's see here, 1, 2. There are 9 of them, and they total out to $31,305.72.
They're all coming from
Okay. And these are, dear council members, DeKalb County Community Corrections would like to request the following transfers. Transfer $31,305.72 from 9127.11695 Residential Services Facilitator 2. And these are all going to different line items for staff and benefits.
And this is what Mike had explained.
When he got here, yes. And again, the total is $31,305.72. This is grant funding that is within the department. Transfer to cover hourly wage increase for residential work facility. We are desperately trying to get our open positions filled and to retain current staff. We are increasing the hourly wage. In order to do this, we will be moving money from one full-time facilitator position and transferring it among the other positions to cover the increase. To be fully staffed, we would have 12 full-time staff. With the new pay rate, we will be staffed with a total of 11 full-time. Employees can drive 20 miles south to Allen County Community Corrections and make $21.75 an hour. We will be increasing pay supervisors from $18.42 per hour to to $20 per hour, night supervisors from $18.79 per hour to $21 per hour. We will be increasing day facilitators from $16.84 per hour to $18.42 per hour. The night facilitators from $17.21 per hour to $19.42 per hour. This transfer is necessary to cover payroll through 2022. Respectfully submitted, Justin Savage, Interim Executive Director. I have approval to make this transfer. And moved by Councilwoman Dembski, second by Councilwoman King. Discussion? Hearing none. Comment from the public? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That motion is carried. And that should complete the additionals and transfers. Those that were transfers that do not require approval, you should have that list. And I think we're going to take the airport first, and then we're running a little behind, so we'll do the airport and then we'll take our break. So Randy? I commented to Susan earlier, it really is nice having the airport report as part of our packet, rather than you having to distribute it when you get here. Yes. So we got a chance to look at it ahead of time.
Bring some extras in case. The portion of the runway extension has begun. I know for sure that we're expecting that electrical vehicle chargers on the way. Because of the myriad of possibilities of which one is. Article says we've got a gentleman try to move them. Closing. Available space. Over to that.
Question, because I really don't know the answer to this. Are there any electric vehicle charging stations in the county right now?
Or public charging. The last time I went out to the airport. So they are out there. I see them around the county.
They have to be charging in their own private residence or
Probably, yeah.
whatever.
My sister has one. Light actually pops up.
He isn't paying City of Auburn utility rates. So.
Nice.
Yeah, fixed base operator. We haven't done anything. Sewer rehabilitation, again, is
Are these storm sewers?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're, long time past. We actually, the drainage folks. We asked them about ours in. Drainage folks again about. Runway extension project is forward. We're getting looking at way there basically. Questions beyond that? Oh, houses, there's immediately orders placement because moved. The trucks that move it apparently
it looks like about 300 more than previous month.
A lot of that has to do with weather. The weather's bad. And we're still looking at.
Anybody else have any questions for Randy? Not. Thank you very much, Randy. Appreciate it. I'm sure that office is open. Okay. We were scheduled to take about a 15-minute break, but we are running long, so let's shorten that up a little bit. Try to be back here by 10 after. Recess till then. You know, it's, at what point did that stop
2018.
flipping back to?
Might be.
I don't know if you want to go through it or if you want me just to give it to Susan.
At some point,
I was like, keep looking at them.
About halfway through it.
But then it quit, okay, because that's something Jackson.
I know, I was just. Okay.
And I don't know what that they got
I
that,
didn't look carefully.
these things turning green, they got that fixed the other day when I was in here, so wherever
Here
it
you
was.
go, I got a series of
Back
pictures to
again.
show you.
Okay.
Hey, right here, put it in it, right here.
Oh, that's cool. She's getting married.
Yeah, she's totally surprised there.
She was?
Yeah,
She got her on her mouth. Now this is your oldest.
youngest.
What?
My youngest is getting married first.
I love it.
Oh, my word.
Oh, that's so cool.
She didn't know it was coming.
No, she had an idea, and she went out to Arizona with him, and he'd come in and talk to me.
Who is this which one's getting married?
Maddie, you met Maddie, haven't you?
Yeah, the one that still lives here, okay.
She's 26.
But still.
Here, just flip through the pictures, this shows you through the pictures.
That is so cool.
All right.
And,
I like
she
it.
knew
And
that
who
she
was with them that was taking the picture?
my oldest daughter,
Oh, okay.
Katie. Yeah,
That is so cool.
yeah. So she gets home last night, and she starts thinking about the wet deals,
Oh, Dad, look out.
and she goes, "What did I get myself into?"
There you go.
And he came to you, you knew he was going to
Yeah, yeah.
Good.
And she goes, "Well, what's Sean come up to talk to you about?" And I said, "Oh, we talked about those tractors over that place."
You lied. Good for you.
Do you need this plan commission thing?
No, I don't need it.
Check.
I just put new ones in. They last for a little bit.
They were the ones down here.
Yeah, and I put all the other 4 in the thingy.
Yeah. And that's why I quit switching.
That'd be Rick. I don't know. The battery,
While Michael was talking, quit flipping. That is just.
Yeah, I know, but I don't talk. Did you watch the series on Benjamin Franklin? One of his, he listed various virtues.
We got a problem.
Sometimes,
This is so
I'm
serious.
reminded during
I
this
have a higher
meeting,
camera.
sometimes we're better off with silence.
I'm perfectly fine.
People repeat themselves. They say the obvious.
Like some other county attorneys have done.
Some people love to talk. And
But I'm sure as an attorney, and he's been at other councils where they actually. I'm sure that would be very frustrating. It would be for me because you know.
couldn't do it any other way. They get into that habit that real good after you tell them once or twice, they're more than willing to say.
You know that, seriously though, that is a good response.
Well, the reason is because
True. The devil made me do it. I mean.
but I just have noticed how quick they jump in and decide
The attorney. Let's remember that.
You would have enjoyed this one.
that. I doubt it.
Now,
I get bored
I
this
am
way.
going to Noble County tonight, LaGrange County tomorrow night, and Adams County on Thursday night. Would you like to join me?
No.
And I still have Day County, Wells County, and Allen County, and Kosciuszko County to go to.
Oh, you
Now,
gotta go
I'll
the whole
pass the
district?
compliments
Well,
on to him, because he,
I'm vice chairman for the district. So we've actually tried to encourage the chairs to go to each other's. So we've had a lot more of that. But Pat Brown is, George's wife, is the district chair. We've committed to going to everyone. So Blackford's the only one
I went to one district meeting.
yeah, it's hang on Charlie to the roof there, so get her nailed down. I'm up there yesterday working, or on Sunday.
Randy was there forever.
Guys were there.
30 years.
Yeah.
And
Hopefully we don't get the severe weather they're talking
Marvis Bear
about.
was drunk and he said, he got it real loud, you know, and it's how long ago it was. I think Gates was the district chairman.
Yeah, was he the guy from Steuben County?
Whitley County.
Whitley County? Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
His dad was the governor.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, because his, that
Well, I think they're gonna
guy's
do that
widow
next,
married John
I already have them
Bowers.
in here. You just have to fill in.
Oh, really?
I'm not leaving yet.
When they got married.
I won't leave until.
And I think when John died, I think she was over in Columbia City.
Oh, it's these two that could put us over. So what happens, see this?
It's.
I will have this turned on and you'll just have to hit stop.
Oh, well, Steuben County is his problem. That's not gonna be so bad. But
And save all.
I hear the same.
If you type in save it.
Sounds like
Went out there by the.
I
I'm gonna buy,
understand why they have them. It's
no,
just that
on 8, on On this side, like before you get to the stoplight.
That's why I don't use to parade everybody out.
No,
and make it-
further down.
I don't know.
Before you would turn to go into,
Bring you a microphone, you introduce yourself, say hello, and we move on.
yes.
You don't, there was, last year, I think everybody left. Not only did, Todd Young was the speaker, but they left, Pete C. Nobody wanted to hear him. You know, it's just, we all want to get out of here, and then they let Pete announce the fact. Well, at least one of the other potential this one
It's today's. I'm going to actually get it in my notebook.
was in the audience. The women who were all very friendly with them.
Congratulations, by the way. There's going to be some real excitement in your house.
Oh my God! It was, and I like to go to Kosciuszko because that's, I mean, my family's from Kosciuszko. I know a lot of people over there. I was there at fish fry, but that night I couldn't wait to get out of there.
Making her nervous.
On forever, and then, like I said, everybody was mad either because of how long it took or because they let Pete C come.
How long have they been dating?
It was politics.
That's not bad.
No.
No, but
Not at all.
But they didn't think he'd ask us soon.
Oh,
you should have, like,
And well, the funny is, he came up and talked to me. Maddie, says, what you guys talking about?
No, and I had
Oh, we have
to-
trouble at the tractor. And I wanted to know what his opinion was.
you are good.
And I told her, yeah.
Wait a minute. That's never been referred to him.
No, I can lie her best.
Yeah.
Well, my
When it
daughter
comes
had
to-
me-
I gotta talk to your priest about it.
When it comes to your daughter's.
Let's round everybody up so we can get started again.
Yeah, so he come up and asked me for a drink. I said, well, you know, that spells it, D-A-N capital. But hey,
Good, how are you, Rick? You too.
It's gonna be a long day.
You did. That is incredible.
So he had already,
And just as I was doing the sheriff's thing, he was calling. I don't know what he wanted. I'll call him
Yeah.
afterwards.
Where's your phone? He's got pictures of the whole thing.
All right, you guys, are you guys ready?
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, this is really neat. They
That
were
is
out to
awesome.
Arizona.
That is awesome.
Okay. I've got
What's
my
left to
copy.
do here?
All right, call the meeting back to order, and next item on the agenda is acknowledging the receipt of the 2021 annual jail report. I have a motion, can I have a motion to
Will you close it,
acknowledge that receipt?
I move that we acknowledge and accept that report.
Been moved that we acknowledge the receipt. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Prosser. Discussion, comment from the public. All those in favor of acknowledging the receipt of the annual jail report signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That motion's carried. Next is to acknowledge the receipt of the 2021 Soil and Water Annual Report. I have a motion to acknowledge the receipt. Been moved by Councilwoman King. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Van Wy. Discussion, comment from the public. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same. That motion's carried. Next item is the approval of the 2022 salary and hourly wage ordinance amendment. Ordinance number 2022-OCC-2, and ordinance amending the DeKalb County 2022 salary and hourly wage ordinance, DeKalb County Council. The DeKalb County Council hereby establishes the following salary and hourly wage ordinance to become effective for pay period 12/19/2021 to 1/1/2022, paid on 1/14/2022, through pay period 12/4/2022 to 12/17/2022, paid on 12/30/2022. It is further ordained that all salaries and wages shall be paid bi-weekly, 26 pays. It is further ordained that any employee hired after the date of this ordinance will have one pay period withheld for audit purposes. It is further ordained that compensation for employees and elected officials may include but not be limited to, if provided and meets eligibility, a stipend, health insurance, health savings account, professional certifications, educational advancements, and per diems, regardless of the source of funds for which the money is paid. Now therefore be it ordained by the DeKalb County Council that the hourly and salary and hourly wage ordinance for 2022 budget is hereby amended to include the reclassification listed, and/or that the employee will be paid within the range represented from the federal minimum wage to a maximum of the dollar amount set forth of this ordinance unless amended. Auditor plat book fee, general fund 1181, financial budget property tax deputy, Comot C, $22.34 per hour, transfer deduction, Comot B, $21.12 per hour, transfer Comot B, $21.12 per hour. This is an updating category and wage, actual wage change not in effect until council determines mid-year increases or WIS approved job descriptions. Community corrections, 2022, calendar year 2022 or fiscal year 21-22. Funds 1122 project income 9121/9127 state grant adult, and 9122/9128 state grant juvenile. Executive director, special, what was the title of that? That's SO, special officers, special occupations. Probation, $2,884.62 biweekly. This updates the category and wage for this position to take effect now, following judicial wage requirements. I move that we adopt or can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2022-OCC-2 on first reading?
So moved.
Been moved by Councilman Yard. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilman Kraft. Discussion?
Right, what is this mean? This is an updating category and wage.
Those positions are changing from one category to another categories, but they're not increasing, I'm not increasing their per hourly rate at this time.
If you get,
I can't increase the rate until you guys approve the rate change. It's only updating the category level from my job descriptions that went to WIS.
and before you do that, we probably need to make the recommendations from our meeting this morning so the council can vote on those categories, because we have several recommendations to make.
Actually, this would be the appropriate time, I believe, to tell us what you did in your subcommittee
right.
this morning.
Well, the first three were, the number one thing we're talking about right now is the job. WIS has recommended that the transfer deputy and the transfer deduction deputy go from Comot A to Comot B. And they're recommending that the finance budget property tax deputy go from Comot B to Comot C. We made a motion to recommend to the full council that they look at that, look at that and decide whether they're going to move those up. The council is the only one that can approve that. So we're just making those recommendations that based upon what WIS is recommending. Susan explained that she's not going to raise those pays until either if we do a pay increase sometime later this year or if we do for our next budget year.
Just like
Because
last year.
they're already paid at the top or above.
Of their initial level.
Yeah.
Why are we making the move at this time?
Because I have to have it in an ordinance that shows that the levels have changed. Just like last year, we
Susan,
did
you reorganized
multiple.
your office. That's the part that Bill doesn't know about.
Yes, I reorganized my office, which job descriptions went. But the reason why I have to do it now is just like last year when we had other changes, many of these came through as this is updating the category, no per hour wages are changed because our ordinance needs to follow through and match what is being approved. So come budget time, then all of the most up-to-date current categories are in there as we plan for the next budget.
Hey, is this something that you was ran past WISP and they had?
Yeah, WIS is making these recommendations, and we're passing the
How did we
recommendations.
come upon getting these recommendations? Did you send something down with a new category and?
I updated all of my job descriptions for everybody in the office except for accounts payable and payroll. Those did not change. When I became auditor, my first deputy is Carla, and I had her keep her expertise of settlement versus my expertise of budget as part of her first deputy duties. And then, so I wasn't replacing her position because she was keeping her position and adding some financial responsibilities that I'm teaching. And then a different position was made, job description created, that would have been all of my bookkeeping, additional financial information. The deputy also already does deductions, different things in property tax, and will also learn the budget.
Updated yours now. Other departments, can they update theirs now? Run it through,
Yeah,
so
and
we have it,
and we have other departments that are doing that.
so that we have everything in front of us by May 5th or whatever you did.
That's,
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons that the ordinance says that those changes have to be made by April, so that we have it for the budget.
And the treasurer's department is adding a position to, we just didn't have all the stuff in front of us today from Dottie to be able to make that recommendation.
These came up because
It was submitted through the committee, like in the normal procedure, it has to be February to April.
got others coming in front
Yeah,
of us.
and I got
We're
some more,
not-
and
we're
I got
not-
some more to report to right here.
But nothing that we're gonna vote on today. This is what all we're voting on, right?
Well, I mean, I can let you know that they determined that the deduction deputy doesn't change. That needs to stay in the coma A where it was. Then we had Homeland Security Director that didn't go up. They tried to submit for a category change there. It didn't change. That WIS determined it wasn't enough to change. However, they do have a statement that I need to read to you guys. I think I should read to you guys for WIS about the Homeland Security Director's position. We did accept their job description. He had updated the job description, but it didn't allow for a change in category. But WIS says, in WIS's view, the county is facing a salary issue with this position. This is the Homeland Security Manager, not a classification issue. According to the county's 2022 salary ordinance, the current salary of the Emergency Management Homeland Security Director position is $2,307 biweekly, about $60,000 annually. In their 2019 job classification and compensation study, WIS provided an external market salary range of $54,000 to $72,000 for the EXE A classification level. We were paying we currently have them at 60. I have attached the original spreadsheet, says Dottie. Jason requested a bump of $2,500 biweekly up to $65,000. There's room in the external market salary range to increase the salary of this position if the council chooses to make a pay adjustment. Of course, this should be addressed by the wage review currently underway by WIS. So, I mean, WIS is saying our salaries just aren't high enough, basically, but I think we're going to look at that when we look at all the salaries. I mean,
Which is why we want this study.
but we didn't make, I don't think Amy, we weren't recommending that they take any action on raising that pay for Homeland Security. We were just saying they should look at that salary when you look at all the rest of them.
Out of curiosity, how long did this process take when you entered?
I think you need Dottie's to answer that because she knows when she sent it down.
The only other business we had is public defender, administrative assistant, had a job description update, didn't require it to go to WIS or make any changes, but they wanted to call it paralegal administrative assistant. Dottie suggested, and we agreed that we don't want to change it to paralegal because they're not required to be a paralegal. And it would possibly throw them into another class just by changing the title when that's not a requirement of the job. And then the treasurer's office, we're hoping by next meeting, we'll be able to talk about project manager, technical trainer that will work kind of with all the departments. The commissioners have already discussed it. Therefore, just trying to figure out where it's going to land. We think it's going to be in her department. So that's an additional job, additional position.
Other questions? I have a motion in a second. Comments here? Comment from the public? Yes, Sandy? No, different job descriptions to different peoples. Yeah, but it's different people. When she reorganized her office, the job description got changed for those positions. And that you have that opportunity too. So does the recorder, so does the assessor. If you reorganize them and if you have a second deputy and she's got X jobs to do in her area, and maybe the third deputy has a different set of jobs, if you flip those around, you've got to change the job description. But you only get to do that once a year. And hopefully they would have been assigned the same point value and everything else when they made those changes.
The clarification that Susan made, it wasn't the same job. They took certain elements out of one job, added it to another job, and that's why that changed. There's certain responsibilities, certain elements of this job went into this position, this one went into this position, which is why WIS changed it.
Well,
the big issue is, and I know, is the transfer deputies that I have. They were increased when Jan had first did her changes, and then they did their job descriptions, and Jan's hadn't been sent to WIS, and so when it went back to WIS, those positions got dropped back down. The only change that I made to those job descriptions was to be sure that WIS understood the complexities of the mapping, and I put in the job description that those positions have to be able to understand and read a legal description on a deed, the attorney's information, to be able to not have liability come back onto the county. If my deputies do not know how to read those legal descriptions, and if they transfer property, or if they don't map it right and they don't get it, know that this verbiage actually equals this area, then that is a liability onto the county. That is the only change that I made in that description, because that is huge, and I did not feel that those positions were closely related to a lot of COMA A's are a lot of part-time people. Sheila has a position in her office I do not think should be a COMA A, because she has a lot of mapping and a lot of legal information that she has to do. I don't think that's right on Sheila's part for her deputy that I'm discussing. I did not do anything indictive. I did not do anything behind anybody's back. I literally put in there the importance of what these actually do. You cannot take a part-time person or just anybody off the street and be able to have them know how to map in our mapping system, to be able to know, I don't even know all the verbiage because that's not my expertise at this point, to be able to know how to go from a certain, I don't even know what they're called, a certain point to another point and call, yes, meets and bounds and all that stuff. They have to be able to know and understand that. And that's what I rely on my deputies to do because I don't have the expertise at this point. I only put that information in about keeping the liability away from the county. That is all I did. I did not change anything else.
My office is the final job. My office relies on Susan's office. Also, my office it even matches. If and say it's Allen County, that it may have an address.
Susan, how then, you said that you really emphasized that to WIS. Was that in a conversation? Was that something that you put in the document?
I put it in the job description.
Okay.
And my email to Dottie with my job description, my questionnaire thing that I had to answer, with all that document for the committee. In that email, I specifically said, I want WIS to know that this is exactly what I changed and why, and for the same explanation that I just said to everybody.
So when you changed it in your job description, did you give it more detail? Did you change the verbiage of it to say, look, it's this mapping thing, but here's why it's so important? Just trying to get it, because if their departments are doing the same thing, then how do we help them make those changes that they need to make as well for their own staff? You know, what did that look like? And I just don't know what that was.
I'll have to pull my job description.
Yeah.
But yes, I have verbiage in there.
Okay.
The fact of the matter is that when these were originally done, every department had the opportunity to spend as much time as they needed with WIS. And apparently that was not done. Whether it was intentional or just not explained well enough, I don't know. I will tell you that, WIS is doing this throughout the state of Indiana. And we aren't the only ones that have these kind of issues going on with the different departments and where they feel that they've been slighted. So it's just not DeKalb County. But we paid a lot of money for WIS to come in here and spend time with our department heads. They had that opportunity. This was the first time we ever did it, and we didn't get it right exactly, apparently, and we're going to have to do it again at some point, and that's one of the reasons that we're bringing them in now to look at the wages. But this same issue is going on in other places.
In my job description and the duties, I added a line that says, reviews and interprets all deeds along with the legal descriptions to determine if the document is acceptable and will not be a liability against the county. In the questionnaire that I've had to fill out, The job classification review form, on question 1, it says, describe why this new position added employee classification review is necessary. And I said, I do not feel this position should qualify as comma A, the knowledge and level of thinking required to read legals, map them, and legal verbiage and protect the county from liability is very robust. Not just anyone can decipher legal verbiage and understand it. So I did that all in all the paperwork that I had to fill out.
And, you know, the point system that they assign, and if you've seen those manuals, quite thick, is from the federal government. It's from the Department of Labor and how jobs are classified.
I think that's been kind of the issue. That it's very difficult. But what's the magic word? And it's concerning, I guess, to me that this is happening all across the state, as you say, with different counties. That's concerning. And see how we can fix it going forward.
Well, number one, give them the opportunity to work with WIS. I mean, they can't do this in a vacuum. They're going to need to sit down with WIS and discuss with them maybe how the job description should be written. And yes, you do.
They won't let us.
You had that opportunity when they did their original work. Well, I'm talking about the original opportunity, and if you didn't feel that you got enough time, you had the opportunity to ask for more. And I do see WIS. I see WIS at every association of counties.
Can they have access to them to have discussion when there's a change in office? I mean, I don't know that. I'm asking, is it possible for a department head to have direct access to WIS or not?
Well, now it's going to be a matter of who's going to pay for it. Because originally, it would have all been included in the original study that we did and what we paid, what we bought or paid for during that study. Because you weren't here at the time.
I wasn't here, so. I can say that I have tried to reach out to WIS myself, not even thinking. And when they responded to me, they did not respond to me. They responded to Dottie. And then Dottie responded to me and said, I'm sure you understand that. Like, well, I didn't even think about it.
Let's work through Dottie and get them the opportunity to talk with them that they need.
Well, if we're really interested in getting this problem, we need to get them up here, give them the opportunity again to talk to them and discuss this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've all fought with this for years now. I mean, we put the $10,000 or whatever in the budget. Yeah, I mean, ain't gonna hurt them come up here to see for one day and talk to everybody. Let's get our salary straightened out.
Now, if that's what we want to do, that's fine. That's fine. They do need to spend time talking, but I'm just saying that initially they had that opportunity. Initially, they had that opportunity.
Okay.
And now they need it again. Okay, let's pay for
Get
it.
this straightened out now. We've been messing with this for a long enough time. Let them explain why they haven't moved into covert A to covert B or covert C, whatever it is. I mean, we can sit here and argue with it all day, and it seems like we're doing, but to me personally, I don't know the difference between A and B other than B gets more salary than what A does. I don't know what the requirements is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've seen what they've sent in, and I've seen what they've sent in, and it's basically the same, and they haven't moved one office and haven't moved a second office. We need to understand the whole reason why.
Okay. It's fine with me. I mean, we can get them up here. We need to give Dottie the opportunity to ask them, or because it is going to cost us.
Well, I think if we're going to be fair to our employees, it's something we have to do.
Which is why we're doing the wage study, because we know that we need to be fair to them. We give them the opportunity to adjust those salaries or those job descriptions once a year. That's all been decided, and this, there are many different counties across the state that are using this same system. Not all are being done by WIS.
Yeah, but you've also said there's
Baker
other-
Tilly is doing some for some different areas, so.
Does Baker Tilly use the same structure? I mean, the same like point system? I mean, is that?
I
is the point
don't know, I'm
system-
assuming so. City of Auburn is using them.
Okay, I was wondering if the point system is the thing that has to be universal, that has to be used across the board?
I think
or is that
if you're
just
gonna give any validity to it, I think it would have to
I
be.
don't know, I mean, and are they the same, or are they different? I just didn't know if that was like, here's the mandatory point system. Maybe that's not true, it's just each company does it.
The point system is very confusing. I mean, I think it's very confusing myself, and I deal with it a lot with both council and departments and human resources. I've even reached out to other counties that have used WIS, and their positions for not just auditor, but their positions for treasurer, recorder, assessor, auditor, their positions at their county, they may have a different point value than our positions at our county, and those values are a different category, and there's not anything that can be seen that, okay, my deductions deputy in every county should have 200 points and they're this level. There's not anything that's seamless around the counties, and I also think that's why it's really hard to understand.
Have you compared the job descriptions? Are they the same? They might be called the same thing. Are the job descriptions the same?
And I don't know that. I'm just saying that is also part of the frustration and the not knowing, because again, that's where we're all at. Like if we have our first deputies or if we have our second deputies, then the second deputies have like a first deputy should be counted as the same, but they do different things in different offices. It's just very confusing and not easy
All right.
to
Well, I tell you,
figure out.
probably the easiest thing, what we should do is let's have Dottie bring WIS up here to talk to us. Talk to the council. And then these questions can be asked.
And I would add, it'd be nice if they had a couple hours to spend with the department heads, so they know how to do, they know how to write these the way they want them, WIS wants them written. And they understand the point system better, because none of us do. I think Amy Prosser probably has the best chance of understanding it, because she's had a lot of years in HR.
Fortunately or unfortunately.
All right, so we'll ask Dottie to bring them up here. And I don't know if it'll be May or June, but whenever we can get them up here. All right. Do I have a motion in a second?
She wants to say something. Thank you. Thank you.
Advocating for your people, just as we're advocating for our people. I think a lot of it, and the more I listen, the less confidence I want to see them. But to all of the conferences, better understanding of what's really going on. I think a lot of it is your job description. That's the ability to research, decipher, troubleshoot, and utilize plats, surveys, and related documents are written by what was written here. The one that does that here, that's critical. So it just, I guess, fancy words. It's, if you're looking at fires that are being
Well, I would disagree with you on that. When I say that these issues are being discussed across the state, actually, the conflicts are between the auditor's offices, the treasurer's offices, the recorder's offices, and the assessor's offices. That's where the conflicts are coming up. And that's one of the reasons that it has been brought up that we would like to do a work intensity study that would review the work that's being done by each office and its time during each period of the year. So let's get WIS back up here. I will tell you that they are at most of the Association of Counties meetings. They might not be at the treasurer's conference or the recorders or even the auditors, but they are at most of the association's meetings. At the annual meeting, they're always there. The executives, the owners of WIS are former county officials. So we'll get them up here and we'll let them explain to us, and we will give you the opportunity to sit down with them and refine your job descriptions if that's what's necessary. All right? Okay, now, I have a motion and I have a second. Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor of passing this ordinance 2022-OCC-2 on first reading, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same. That motion is carried. All right, next, we would like to suspend the rules so that we can pass this on second and third readings. And this would take a unanimous vote to suspend the rules.
And what we're voting on is updating this category according to what WIS gave us, and the actual wage will not come into effect.
Is for the auditor's office and for the community corrections executive director.
The community corrections director does take effect.
Wasn't for the community correction. I'd like to see more information.
And she is not changing her, the dollars that are associated with it, because that can't happen until January with the new budgets.
Before we take a second vote, I would like to know, we have to vote on providing money for WIS to come and meet with our elected officials. I want to make sure that we're going to do that before I vote on this.
I think the only way I can say that is it's up to you guys. I mean,
Well,
we
that,
either-
I'm
we
asking,
either-
are
we
we
either
going to
vote
do
on
that?
it
Are you
to-
committed
We either agree
to
that we're going to
money
do it
so
or
that
not.
they can sit down with them?
We already did 10
Not yet, we haven't.
million, $1,000. I know what that was for the study, but that's
So-
in the budget that we can use. And another thing
But that's
too,
for the study, and this will be more, so when we come back with another additional are you all going to approve it?
That's
so
what I'm
that we
asking,
can
because
have
before I vote
this?
on this, I want to make sure.
Do you agree that you would like to have them come up and talk with us and I'm not gonna put a time limit on it, but.
And we already know their fees.
Yeah, we already know their fees, but, I mean, we got two things here. One, we want them to come up here and talk to us directly. That's one. I don't think that'll be a big issue, a big dollar issue. But we also want to give them an opportunity to talk to each one of our department heads or elected officials. That's the part that'll probably need an additional appropriation. I don't have a problem with that, and I'm willing to vote for that. Is everyone else willing to do that? At least devote a day, an 8-hour day.
Well, I think we need to do it just for the fairness and see that we're doing it right.
And I'm fully,
And the other thing I want to say, our meeting, we have electronics. We could just let them come on a big screen there behind Rick, Bob there. I'm going to say Rick and Bob. And,
Yeah, for
and,
our meeting.
for our
theirs.
meeting,
It
for
needs to be
theirs,
face to
so that
face.
we're not
Yeah.
paying them for 2 trips, because they may not be able to come up here on May 10th or whatever our next meeting.
right.
Yeah.
No, I don't care if it's virtual, for us.
And for us, that's why
Yeah,
I say
but
that's
no,
got
it
to be
has
an
to be in
option. But
person.
I want them person to person.
Yeah, me too.
Well,
And
is
but
that
I-
acceptable? I mean, you want to do person to person?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think-
I mean, we need to ask you, is that what you want?
But for us, it's virtual. I mean, we aren't going to have the intensity of questions that they have.
No.
I could see ours being 30 minutes, but theirs ought to be 3-4
Well,
hours.
I was gonna say, we need to commit
Theirs needs
at
to be
least a
hours.
full day, at least a full day.
Well, I think that we should all meet together with them.
Yeah, that's fine.
Fine,
However you
I
guys
don't
wanna
care how you
organize
do it. But we still you need to have a good,
So
you need
you
an
all are
opportunity.
agreeing.
You don't want it to say, well, you're only gonna pay me for 2 hours, so.
Right.
That's all you can come. No, it needs to be a full day.
Hopefully Liz can give us a day that's out, not next week, just for planning for all of the
Oh, they
department
should be.
heads to make
Yeah.
sure that they're here to meet with them.
Because, I mean, it'd be harder to pick a day for like coming to our. They might have a day open to come talk to you, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. So if you would ask Dottie to arrange we can do it virtual for our next meeting if possible, and then get them up here for a full day to meet with the other department heads. All right. Again, I have a motion, I have a second. Is there any more discussion? Did we vote on the first one?
You have to suspend the rules.
I guess we did. I marked it off. We're ready to do the suspension of the rules. Now, from what Donna has asked and what we have agreed to, that there will need to be an additional appropriation to bring them up here. We are agreeing to that, correct?
I am.
Okay. Okay. So then I need a motion to suspend the rules, to read it on second and third readings.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
Then moved by Councilman Kraft to suspend the rules. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Yard. Discussion? Again, this needs to be a unanimous vote. All those in favor of suspending the rules and reading it on second and third readings by title only signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That motion is carried. All right. Ordinance number 2022-OCC-2, an ordinance amending the DeKalb County 2022 salary and hourly wage ordinance. DeKalb County Council, I entertain a motion to approve this on second and third readings.
I'll make that motion.
Been moved by Councilman Kraft to approve it on second and third readings. There's a second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Yard. Discussion. Comment from the public. Hearing none. All those in favor of passing ordinance number 2022-OCC-2 on second and third readings signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. That motion is carried. All right, moving on. Council Commissioner discussion. And Todd, Bill, this first item on here is the highway move.
Just a minute, Bill. Just two questions. One is, those buildings that you're talking about are in addition to the building that's already there. Correct. Can you tell us a little bit about what that building is going to be used for? And then my second question is, are we going to get about the same amount of space or more than what we have now as under roof? I mean, square foot wise? In office. Are we going to get at least as much square footage under roof or more than what we have now? Oh, yeah, you don't get much against the wall in those, yeah. 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 Yeah, the Quonset huts, you can't really count the Quonset huts, you can't really count that last 10 feet, a square foot on the sides because it's only 8 feet high.
Right. At one time, I've seen you've got one, they're gonna go to tandem dump trucks, is this built so they can handle it? Dump trucks, the bigger dump trucks.
I think the reason that that is on there, Bill, was there was a question during the redevelopment or development committees meetings as to what money might be dedicated to the new sport park. And we wanted, I think the question was, well, are we using the money to build the roundabout? Or are we using it to do something with the sport park? We want to, you know, we do need the roundabout. So it was just a matter of, is it still a project that's a possibility at some point in the future? Okay. Just, well, the last thing on here is the ARP project budgets that you've listed. Okay. And that, well, it just does kind of go back to the highway garage. I think that one of the things that I think the council is going to need to see before we approve that budget is a timeline and a dollar amount for the highway garage. What are we spending? How much are we spending? Where are we spending it? What's the timeline? Because, you know, comment was made about not approving the additional funding through the correctional facility tax, that died for a lack of a second. Well, it died for a lack of a second because there was no plan attached to it. There was no timeline. And that's my understanding from the other council people that I have talked to. So I think before we approve that ARP budget, the way it stands, we need to see what that large amount of money is going to involve. Well, it was shut down because there was a public outcry against that location. No, it was not a one, not a one man, it was a public outcry against, that location. No, it was not. It was a public outcry, it was an inappropriate location. So we do need to have that plan. We need to know what those dollars are. There's some $4 million that's being set aside for this project. We need to know what that is, and has the project even been presented to the Waterloo Plan Commission? Is our plan been approved?
As I stated, in this Thursday, with Waterloo till the plans together. So it takes these steps that we got to go. And we'll get you enough. I'm not saying you got to prove it today.
Well, and I'm just telling you that before we approve the art plan, I want to see that plan.
18 months from when we sold it, is that right? I don't remember.
2 years from when we sold.
Okay, thank you.
And just to address that. You gotta have a plan. Problem is, we have to have this, and that's all there is to it.
Just that we have a plan, and we go to the plan commission. I mean,
So Todd, you're saying if Brett gets out of there early, we could start maybe early, like by this November, December, doing stuff.
What would be nice if he gets out early? Get done, so when there's no doubt. Site's good.